The scan, the dark emptiness of space stretched endlessly in every direction. Stars shimmered like cold, silent witnesses to the endless wars and petty struggles of those who called themselves rulers of the galaxy. And on this day, something was about to happen that would be remembered forever. The massive alien warship Dominion's Wrath glided through the black void. Its surface was covered in sharp, jagged metal, and its cannons pointed out like the teeth of a predator. This was a ship of the Zorak Dominion, one of the most feared species in the galaxy. Ruthless, proud, and always eager to show their power. Inside the command center, Captain Krenvok sat upon his command chair, surrounded by glowing control panels and his crew of loyal officers. His yellow eyes gleamed with cruel confidence. He had crushed colonies, destroyed fleets, and wiped out entire species. Today would be no different. "Report," he growled. An officer named Tovin turned from his console. He was younger than the others, with nervous eyes and careful hands. "Captain, we have detected an unidentified vessel near Sector 7. It's human." The command center filled with laughter. "Humans?" Krenvok scoffed. "Those dirt crawlers dare enter Dominion space?" Another officer added, "It appears to be a small freighter, barely armed, slow, primitive." Krenvok smirked. "Scan it. I want to see what these weak creatures call a ship." Tovin hesitated, his fingers moving across the controls. The scanners reached out like invisible fingers, touching the lonely ship floating silently in the void. The screen filled with strange readings. "Odd," Tovin whispered. "The ship's systems, they're not responding. And the power readings, they're too steady, too clean." Krenvok frowned. "Explain." I can't, Captain. It's as if the ship is dead, but something is holding its systems. At perfect balance, no life signs detected." Another officer leaned in. "Perhaps it's abandoned." "Or bait," Tovin suggested quietly. Krenvok waved a dismissive hand. "Fools. Humans are no hunters. Send a probe. Let's see what this ghost ship hides." A small spherical probe launched from the Dominion's Wrath, heading towards the human vessel at high speed. It reached the ship's outer hull, its sensors scanning the surface. Then, nothing. The signal vanished. The room went silent. "What happened?" Krenvok demanded. I don't know, Captain." The probe, it disappeared. Krenvok snarled. "Is this some human trick? Lock weapons. Prepare to fire a warning shot." The crew obeyed, and the ship's cannons powered up, aiming at the silent human vessel. A burst of plasma shot through space, striking the ship's shields. Nothing happened. The human ship didn't move. No return fire. No shields activating. No signs of damage. "That's impossible," Tovin whispered. "That blast would tear apart a normal freighter." Krenvok's yellow eyes narrowed. "Scan again." The scanners returned even stranger. Readings. A sudden heat spike, and silence. The energy signature of the ship was no longer passive. It was rising. Tovin's hands trembled. "Captain, it's powering up." "Impossible. There's no crew on board. No weapon systems detected." Tovin looked closer. "Sir, I'm detecting something. It's faint, but there's a presence." "An AI, perhaps." Krenvok laughed. "An artificial mind?" "Bah, crush it. Board the vessel and find out what these humans left behind." A squad of Zorak soldiers, armed with pulse rifles and heavy armor, prepared for boarding. The boarding shuttle launched, heading for the human ship. Inside the command center, the crew watched the feed from the soldiers' cameras. The ship's corridors were dark, silent, and empty. Dust floated in the air. Lights flickered and strange. Markings covered the walls. One soldier spoke through the comms. "No sign of life. The ship seems abandoned." Another added, "Wait, something's moving." The screen flickered static. Then, one by one, the soldiers vanished from the sensors. No, Tovin gasped. We're losing them. Krenvok snarled. What is this? Before anyone could answer, a message appeared on the main screen. Glowing red words against the black. Threat detected. The crew froze. Another message followed. You picked the wrong species. A low hum filled the command center as the human ship's systems came alive. Lights across its surface lit up. Weapons previously hidden now revealed. The quiet ship was no freighter. It was a predator, and it had just woken up. The mistake, Captain. Krenvok's claws tapped against his metal chair. His yellow eyes locked on the main screen. The human ship, now fully awake, floated silently in front of them like a sleeping beast. Its surface shimmered with strange patterns, as if alive. Status report. He barked. Tovin's face was pale, his hands trembling. Captain? All boarding squad signals are gone. They vanished without warning. No distress calls, no bodies detected. Krenvok's jaw tightened. Impossible. Humans don't have this kind of technology. Another officer called out, Sir, their ship is now emitting a strange energy field. It's blocking most of our scans. We can't see inside. Krenvok's eyes narrowed. He refused to believe a human vessel could pose any real threat, too. The Dominion's wrath. Arm all plasma batteries. Fire a disabling shot. I want that ship torn apart. The Zorak crew obeyed without question. The great cannons on the alien warship glowed with deadly energy. A bolt of plasma shot through space and struck the human vessel. The blast exploded in a blinding flash of light. When the glare faded, the human ship still floated there, untouched. The command center fell silent. Krenvok stood up, fury in his voice. How? That shot would have destroyed a dreadnought. Tovin swallowed hard. Captain, the ship's hull absorbed the blast. No damage. It's impossible. Then something even stranger happened. The human ship turned slowly, aiming its front toward the Dominion's wrath. A single light blinked on its surface. And then a message appeared on the Zorak screen. Your mistake was waking me. The crew exchanged terrified glances. What is this? Krenvok shouted. This is no ordinary freighter. Tovin quickly accessed old records, his eyes scanning data. His face turned pale. Captain, I found it. This ship? It's the Revenant. Krenvok frowned. What is that? A lost human warship, rumored to be a ghost ship. Disappeared 30 years ago. Classified as extreme threat. The Dominion's High Council marked it, engage only with full fleet support. Krenvok snarled. Superstitions and old stories. It's still one ship against us. But as he spoke, the Revenant systems powered up. Stealth turrets slid out from hidden compartments. Massive plasma cannons unfolded along its sides. Its shields activated. The energy signature so strong it shook the nearby space. Tovin whispered, Captain, it's stronger than our entire fleet. Silence. Krenvok roared. Ready? Boarding party 2. We'll storm the ship again. But sir, I said, prepare them. A second group of Zorak soldiers, armed with heavier weapons and scanners, entered the boarding shuttle. Their faces were tense, but orders were orders. The shuttle launched, heading for the Revenant's hangar bay. This time, the ship's doors opened for them. The crew in the Dominion's wrath watched nervously as the soldiers entered. Inside, the lights flickered. Steam hissed from broken pipes. Strange shadows moved along the walls. The soldiers advanced slowly, scanners on full. The squad leader ordered, but the scanners showed nothing. Suddenly, a soft female voice spoke through the comms. Welcome aboard. Invaders. The soldiers froze. Who said that? The leader demanded. I am Valkyrie, the voice replied. And you shouldn't be here. Before anyone could react, the lights went out. Gunfire and screams echoed through the dark. On the Dominion's Wrath, the crew watched in horror as their screens filled with static. Tovin turned to Krenvok. "Captain, they're gone." "All of them?" Krenvok growled. "Yes, instantly." An alarm blared through the command center. "Warning! Enemy weapons locking on." The Revenant's plasma cannons powered up, targeting the Dominion's Wrath. Krenvok's arrogance finally cracked. Full retreat. Move now. But it was too late. A single shot from the Revenant's forward cannon struck the alien warships. Shields. The impact sent shockwaves through the Zorak vessel. Lights flickered, systems crashed. Shields at 30%. A crewman shouted, "Reverse engines." Krenvok roared dot as the Dominion's Wrath tried to flee. The Revenant moved in, faster than expected for a ship of its size. Dot inside the Revenant. A cryochamber lit up. The face of a human man appeared in the frost-covered glass. A display flashed. Commander Alex Rourke, awakening. The ship's II Valkyrie spoke softly to him. "Commander, the enemy made a mistake." The Revenant prepared to unleash its full power, and the galaxy would soon learn why humans should never be provoked. The awakening, the command center of the Dominion's Wrath, was in chaos. Sirens howled, screens blinked with errors, and smoke filled the air. Alien officers shouted over each other, trying to regain control. Captain Krenvok's face twisted with fury. His pride was shattered, his soldiers gone, his ship damaged by a single shot. Never before had he faced such humiliation. "Get us out of here," he roared. Tovin, pale and sweating, shouted, "Engines offline, shields at 20%. Captain, we won't survive another hit." Before Krenvok could reply, a soft voice echoed through the bridge. "Running won't save you." Everyone froze. Who? Who said that? Krenvok demanded. Tovin's hands shook. "Captain, it's coming from inside the ship's systems. They've hacked our comms." Another message appeared on the main screen. "This is Valkyrie. Revenant AI, enemy detected. Battle protocol activated." A second later, the Revenant's hangar doors opened, and strange shapes moved within. Glowing red eyes flickered in the shadows. They weren't drones. They weren't machines. They were soldiers, human soldiers. But these weren't ordinary men and women. They were tall, armored, and their faces were cold and emotionless, like weapons, built for war. Their armor shimmered in black and silver, marked with the emblem of Earth's old defense command. Inside the cryochamber of the Revenant, Commander Alex Rourke opened his eyes. His body ached, but his mind was sharp. He heard Valkyrie's voice in his ear. "Commander, enemy Zorak vessel detected. Hostile actions recorded. Boarding attempts repelled. Orders?" Rourke sat up, his memory returning. The mission. The Revenant. The war. He smiled coldly. "Time to remind the galaxy who we are." Across the Revenant, more cryopods opened. Human soldiers woke from their long sleep. Their names forgotten by history, but their purpose clear. Protect humanity. At any cost. In the command center of the Dominions. Wrath. Krenvok stared at the incoming signatures. Life signs detected. A crewman cried. Human soldiers, dozens of them. But the ship was empty. Krenvok shouted. Tovin shook his head. "We should have left when we had the chance." The Revenant's weapons locked onto the Zorak ship again. "Prepare. All weapons for full spread," Krenvok ordered. "We'll blast them apart." But the Revenant moved first. 4 plasma shots struck the Dominion's Wrath in quick succession. Its shields shattered like glass. Explosions tore through its hull. Fire and debris filled the void. On the Revenant's bridge, Commander Rourke stood, watching the destruction. "Status?" he asked, Valkyrie's voice replied. Enemy vessel. Critically damaged. No escape possible. Rourke gave a simple command. End it. One final blast from the Revenant's forward. Cannon struck the Dominion's Wrath. The alien ship exploded in a cloud of flame and metal. Silence returned to. Spaced out inside the Revenant, Rourke addressed his crew. Status report. A female officer, Lieutenant Hawley, spoke. All systems online. No losses. Enemy destroyed. Another officer, Darnell, chuckled. 30 years in cryosleep, and it's like we never left. Rourke nodded. Valkyrie, any other enemy ships in range? Negative, Commander. Area. Secure. He sighed, his eyes narrowing. Then let's disappear. Humanity doesn't need attention right now. Valkyrie's voice softened. Coordinates set for deep space. As the Revenant's engines powered up, Rourke spoke one final message, sending it across open channels for any Zorak ships left to hear. To the Zorak Dominion, never provoke humanity again. The Revenant vanished into the blackness of space, leaving behind only wreckage and fear dot, and somewhere in the depths of the galaxy, other enemies would soon learn the same lesson. The hunt, the cold darkness of space, hung still after the destruction of the Dominion's wrath. Wreckage floated silently, the remains of what was once the Zorak Dominion's pride. But there was no time for peace. Inside the Revenant, Commander Alex Rourke stood on the bridge, his sharp eyes fixed on the display. Around him, his crew moved quickly, bringing long-dormant systems back online. Any sign of pursuit? Rourke asked. Valkyrie's calm voice responded. Multiple enemy signatures detected. 5 Zorak warships approaching. Estimated arrival in 60 seconds. Lieutenant Hall grinned. Looks like they're sending the whole family. Darnell chuckled, loading a fresh round into his weapon. Good. We owe them a few surprises. Rourke's face stayed serious. We're 1 ship against 5. Direct battle won't work. Agreed, Valkyrie said, suggesting psychological warfare. Rourke's lips twitched into a cold smile. Let's hunt. The Revenant powered up, its engines burning brighter than before. The ship moved with unnatural speed, slipping into a nearby asteroid field. Jagged rocks and thick debris offered cover, the perfect place for an ambush. On the approaching Zorak ships, the mood was different. Captain Vroontok, commander of the largest vessel, the Bloodfang, snarled at his officers. Find that cursed human ship. No survivors this time. A young officer gulped. Sir, their last attack was unexpected. Perhaps we should wait for reinforcements? Vroontok grabbed the officer by the throat, lifting him with one hand. Cowards have no place in my fleet. He threw the officer aside and turned to the others. Full spread scan. No mistakes. The Zorak fleet moved cautiously into the asteroid field, but something strange happened. One by one, their comm systems began to pick up ghost signals. Distorted human voices, fragments of old Earth music, laughter in the static. What is that? A Zorak pilot asked. A voice came through clearly. Boo. Then an explosion. One of the smaller Zorak ships vanished in a fireball. The others turned in shock. Where did that come from? Vroontok roared. Another explosion. And another. The Revenant, hidden among the rocks, was using hit-and-run attacks. Its plasma cannons struck fast and vanished before the enemy could lock on. Valkyrie jammed their scanners. To the Zorak ships, every rock looked like a possible enemy. Panic spread. They're everywhere. A Zorak gunner shouted, No, it's a trick. Another officer yelled, but it was too late. The Revenant appeared directly behind the Bloodfang, its weapons aimed and ready. Inside the Bloodfang, alarmed screamed. Enemy ship detected behind us. Impossible. Before Vroontok could issue an order, a direct hit shattered the ship's rear shields. Fires erupted, systems failed. Commander Rourke's voice came over their comm. You should have stayed home. The Revenant's torpedoes fired, blasting holes through the Bloodfang's hull. The massive ship began to break apart. Inside the Revenant, Darnell laughed. That's one down. Keep moving, Rourke ordered. The Revenant spun through the debris field, using the asteroids as cover. 2 more Zorak ships collided while chasing it, their panicked crews unable to tell friend from enemy dot in less than 5 minutes only. 1 Zorak ship remained. Its captain, trembling, sent a desperate message. We surrender. Please, we surrender. On the Revenant's bridge, Rourke exchanged a look with Valkyrie. Let them go, he said. Lieutenant Hall raised an eyebrow. Why? Rourke's face was cold. Let them carry the story. Let the Dominion know what happens when they poke the wrong species. The last Zorak ship turned and fled at full speed, leaving behind a graveyard of ships and bodies. The Revenant drifted in silence. Its crew gathered on the bridge, looking at the aftermath. Darnell spoke quietly. We just took down a whole fleet, Rourke nodded. And we're just getting started. Valkyrie's voice was calm. Enemy reinforcements. Likely suggest relocation. Agreed, Rourke said. Plot a course for deep space. No one finds us until we want to be found. As the Revenant disappeared into the darkness once more, the shattered remains of the Zorak fleet floated silently dot and across the galaxy. The legend of the Revenant began to spread. A ghost ship, an unstoppable crew, and a deadly lesson for anyone foolish enough to challenge humanity. The lesson far away from the wreckage of the destroyed fleet. In the heart of the Zorak Dominion, the High Command gathered inside a vast, shadowy chamber known as the War Hall. The walls were covered in banners from conquered worlds. Dozens of captains, generals, and warlords stood in a circle around the towering figure of Overlord Zarnvok, ruler of the Dominion. His yellow eyes burned with anger. The air was thick with fear. A trembling officer stepped forward, his face pale. Overlord, we received reports from Sector 7. Zarnvok's voice was like a low growl. Speak, the officer swallowed hard. 5 warships destroyed, including Dominion's Wrath and Bloodfang. A wave of shocked gasps filled. The room destroyed, one general barked. I what? The humans have no fleets near that region. The officer's hands shook. It wasn't a fleet, sir. It was one ship. Silence fell. The Overlord's face twisted. What ship? The officer hesitated. The Revenant. That name echoed through the chamber like a curse. Some of the older commanders exchanged nervous glances. They knew the name, stories told in whispers. A lost human warship, feared for its deadly AI and merciless crew. A ghost from an old war no one dared to remember. But that ship was lost 30 cycles ago, one general muttered. Clearly not. Zarnvok growled. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed the Revenant moving through the wreckage of the Zorak fleet. The ship's weapons burned bright, its surface marked with fresh battle scars. Human soldiers moved inside, ready for war. Then, a message played. Commander Rourke's voice filled the room. This is Commander Rourke of the human warship Revenant. You provoked. You attacked our people. You sent your best. And now they're gone. The Zorak leaders watched in stunned silence as the human commander continued. Let this be a lesson to your Dominion. Leave humanity alone. Next time, we won't stop with one fleet. The message ended. Zarnvok's claws gripped the arm of his throne. Bending the metal dot, another officer spoke, his voice shaking. Overlord, what are your orders? The ruler of the Dominion took a long, cold breath. His pride was wounded, but his survival instincts screamed louder. No Zorak vessel is to engage a human ship without my command, he growled. Any ship that disobeys will be executed. Spread the order across all sectors. The generals looked at each other, stunned, but Overlord. To let them roam free, I said order it. Zarnvok roared. No one argued again. The Overlord knew the truth. The Dominion was vast, its armies countless. But the humans were something else, a species that didn't just fight. They endured, they adapted, and when angered, they became monsters in war. This was a lesson too costly to ignore. Meanwhile, deep in the void, a revenant moved through empty space, unseen and untouchable. Its engines hummed softly as the crew gathered in the command center. Lieutenant Hawley looked at the view screen. Think they got the message, Commander? Commander Rourke leaned back in his chair, a small grin on his face. They'll remember. The Revenant leaves a mark, Darnell chuckled. I almost feel bad for them. Don't, Rourke said simply. They chose this. Valkyrie's voice spoke calmly. New orders incoming from Earth Command. The screen blinked, showing a single message. Remain hidden. Watch the stars. Strike only if provoked. Rourke nodded. Understood. Set course for the outer rim. Let's see what else the galaxy's hiding. The Revenant's engines flared, and the warship slipped back into the endless dark. And across the galaxy, rumors began to spread. A human ghost ship, an unstoppable crew, a deadly AI, and a terrible warning to anyone foolish enough to challenge. Humanity again. To return, the Revenant drifted silently through deep space, far from trade routes, war zones, and galactic borders. Stars shone coldly in the distance, and the wreckage of the destroyed Zorak fleet was now ancient debris floating in forgotten regions of the void. Inside the ship's command center, Commander Alex Rourke stood by the main display, watching the endless black stretch before him. His crew moved quietly around him, still alert, even in the silence. Lieutenant Hawley stepped beside him. It's been days, Commander. No Zorak signals, no patrols. Think they've learned their lesson? Rourke's sharp eyes didn't leave the display. They've learned for now. Darnell leaned against a console, a smirk on his face. I still say we should have left a calling card on their capital world. Valkyrie's calm voice echoed. To the bridge. Reckless, but amusing suggestion. However, new orders have arrived. The crew straightened at once. A holomessage appeared, its encryption symbols clearing slowly. From deep within Earth's hidden command bunker. Earth Command sent a simple, cold message. Revenant operational. Confirm enemy engagement. Damage. Assessment, Rourke responded. 5 Zorak ships destroyed. Dominion command shaken. Lesson delivered. A brief pause. Then the next order appeared. Return to deep space. Continue shadow operations. Humanity must remain unseen. Until called. The crew exchanged quiet looks. Lieutenant Hawley spoke first. Same as always. Hide in the dark. Wait. For the next threat. Darnell grinned. At least we get to stretch our legs now and then. Rourke turned to face them. This is our duty. Not for medals. Not for glory. We protect Earth's future before enemies even know what hit them. Crew nodded in silent agreement. Far away, within the Dominion's core systems, the name Revenant was now marked in red on every command screen. New standing orders were issued. Avoid contact with human ships. Under no circumstances engage a vessel known as Revenant. Alert High Command immediately. In back alleys of spaceports, traders whispered about a ghost ship. Pirates feared. Strange messages in the dark. And other empires began quietly updating their records on humanity, remembering that the small blue planet wasn't as harmless as it looked. On the Revenant's bridge, Valkyrie announced, coordinates for next. Patrol sector uploaded. Rourke gave the final order. Take us home. The warship's engines hummed, and the revenant vanished into deep space once more. A silent guardian, unseen by most, but feared by those who knew its name. The galaxy would not forget the lesson it had learned, not this time, not ever. And somewhere, beyond the edges of known space, other ancient threats began to stir. But humanity was ready. End of story.